Hello, everyone. Welcome to Healing Wednesday and the Circle of 12. I'm Lee Carroll.
And I'm Monika Muranyi.
This is Healing Wednesday. If you didn't know that, I think you do because you're here. It's a time when we come together every week with special guests, questions and answers, discussions, meditations, of course, and channeling. This is our once-a-month free program. So we appreciate all of those YouTube subscribers and all of those who are joining us for the first time from anywhere on the planet. Special welcome to members of Healing Wednesdays who receive one of these programs absolutely every week of the year. Every Wednesday we're here. If you're not a member and you follow the Circle of 12, this is your 14th free program. Thank you very much for that, and keep on tuning in every month because we have really special people for you. If you are a member, think about this one. This is program number 57 for you. Lots of programs. Even new members coming in right now, the Circle of 12, and their subscription, receive access instantly to every single Healing Wednesday program with all of the guests that we've ever done. It's a comprehensive index comes with it to find all the speakers, what was said, what was done, what the channeling subjects are about, and the Circle of 12 experiences. Every single one in our library. Now, it's easy to subscribe. It's cryonmasters.com. Are you a Spanish language speaker? There's a show just for you in Spanish starting in about 30 minutes.
¿Habla español? Este programa es en español también. Comenzar en 30 minutos más.
So if you'd like to know where that might be, members, it's in your portal. And if you're on YouTube, it's Kryon Lee Carroll Español. Please don't be frustrated with streaming. Streaming, sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't. The sound comes and goes, the picture does. This is a live stream. However, there's also replays, and they start, if you're a member, in about an hour, a little longer for YouTube, but there are replays of this show available for you. This is not just live and it goes away. So replays are available on YouTube and membership portal, and we do not remove them after any amount of time.
So I want to just talk about being in two places at once. Because some of you have seen our schedule and you realize, hang on a minute, right now, Monika and Lee are in Sedona, Arizona, presenting a live and in-person seminar. Well, therefore, this entire Healing Wednesday program had to be completely pre-recorded. To us, however, it is still very live because we're live in the studio. We're about to bring you a very special guest who was also done live. So really, essentially, we're recording a live program and we're just giving it to you in your now. So we're going to now move to our question and answer section. And this question comes from Cara. Cara is in Western Australia. Cara is asking, will the universal laws ever change? The most amazing people I know who hold the most compassion in their hearts are always lacking financially. Shouldn't financial abundance be based on compassion and heart-based love for each other? That's a very thought-provoking question, Cara. And Lee, that's going to be a tough one to answer.
It is, and I'm going to answer it the best I can from what Kryon has said. So let's just get to the basic answer. The answer is no. There's no universal law that says compassionate people will have abundance. Kara, there's actually two layers or more. I would say like a lot more to this question, and I want to do it justice. So let's start at the beginning. The universal law that we teach, did you know what it is? Because we teach it, many of our guests also teach it. It's basically what some have now called the law of attraction. What you claim and concentrate on, you bring to yourself. Now, this doesn't matter whether you're compassionate or not. This is you with the universe. What you claim and concentrate on, you bring to yourself. So if you affirm and expect good things, they're attracted to you. Honestly, we've seen this over and over. If, on the other hand, there's an expectation that it won't happen, since you don't see it in others, do you continue or not continue here to, do you see what I'm saying? It's a basic, you're going to attract what you think, and you're going to attract what comes out of your mouth. How many guests have we had that have explained this? And there's many. its most benevolent outcome. It's this or something better. It's releasing blocks and things that keep us from believing we deserve it. Now, that's another layer completely. All of us really have to reframe our conversations to ourselves and to others because we complain too much. We all find ourselves often complaining about this and that. And you'll say, well, what does complaining have to do with it? Let me give you another law. Complaints generate nothing from the universal law. They're not even seen. They actually stop it. Have you got that one? If you're complaining, you're stopping your own abundance. And you don't even have to complain about abundance. Complaining attitude is a negative attitude. The second layer of your answer is this. Your amazing people list is a little different than mine. I also know amazing people, some of whom are watching this show, and they've told me they've received wonderful answers to their abundance issues, again, through a consciousness that wants to attract them. I'm only saying that we see things we often think we want to see or need to see. I have so many people who are working this puzzle, just like I've said, and succeeding. There's no axiom that says a compassionate person who loves this planet and loves others will have abundance or abundance issues. However, in all fairness, and this is a big one, this is another layer. In our culture, in our society, there's also a subconscious issue. It's almost a program. It's one that we don't often realize we have. You know where I'm going with this? For some of us, we were all taught early on in our culture, in our religious teaching, that you can't have abundance and be godly. Do you remember those teachings? We're even told that it's a good thing to suffer a little. Do you remember that? I do. How about it's time we say this? It's time to reframe all of that subconscious thinking and instead say, blessed are the ones who have created abundance from their expectations, from their compassionate action, from what they attract. For they're the ones who will help others the most. God, Spirit, the creative source, it all wants us to have these resources we need so that we can be peaceful, healthy, and without worry. Did you get that? God wants us to be abundant. This is the only way we can work with the light in a beautiful and balanced way. So there's a whole lot of blocks that get in the way of what we're actually built for. We're built for abundance. We're built for peace. We're built to find the Creator. Kryon has told us over and over, you did not come here to suffer. This is a human setup, not a godly one.
I love that answer that we did not come here to suffer. It's just so beautiful and rich with all it conveys. And the other phrase Kryon loves saying is that you're not here as a victim. Mm-hmm. And so yes, those phrases are so beautiful, Lee. Thank you. Our next question is from Nova Grace. Nova Grace is in Scandinavia. And he's asking, what is the significance of remote viewing an event happening to a stranger who is a celebrity? It was later confirmed that this accident happened right at the same time that I saw it in an awakened vision. So what is the significance of Nova Grace seeing that in a remote viewing situation and then it happens?
Let me tell you, at the very beginning, let's talk about the belief in remote viewing. How many watching and listening to this feel remote viewing is actually real? Because there are many who would say, well, no, that's just something that they talk about and I don't believe it. I'll tell you something about it. I think it's very real, and let me just talk about that and why. We want to define remote viewing. It happens when somebody actually has the ability to see or feel or sense something that is happening at the moment, in your case, Nova, or will happen very soon somewhere else. That is remote viewing. The answer, as I've said, is very, very real. It has everything to do with what we call and have taught about the field. It's the same thing that you'll hear some of our other guests talk about. It's almost like an energy field of consciousness that is tap intoable. How do you like that for? I wonder what the translators are going to say with that. For those who doubt it can be real, I happen to know of some who were hired by the government in the past to remote view in those places where they needed intelligence. It's very real, but it's limited to what is in the field at the moment. Some may be planning negative things or doing negative things, and the consciousness of those things are able to be picked up by some. Now, not everyone can do this, and I know you're very aware of that. In fact, it's a real gift. And I've sat with some who do it constantly. So Nova, two things. First, let's talk about it. I believe you obviously have the gift. Are you okay with that? Because that's what you told us. I believe you. The entire significance of this event is for you. Having seen something before it happened or at the time it happened is a personal message for you. This message is for you, Nova. You have this gift. It's not your imagination. Not everybody does. Next, what do you do with it? What if you might have an intuitive sense that a person who works with you is in trouble? That's an invitation to help them. What if you were driving along and had a vision of an accident ahead? That is an invitation to stop your car and miss that accident. What if you had a very strong feeling about a situation that was brewing where you might be of great help because you saw it or you are seeing it? Do you see where this is going? Your gift is real, validated by you and even your question. Learn to use it, help others around you and yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us, Lee. And I immediately start remembering some beautiful advice given by Kryon, is that often we think we have to develop these gifts or something's given to us and that we're then kind of facing it on our own. And yet we forget that we have the universal partner in the Creator. We have guides and angels. We have the planet Earth, Gaia, that's here in support of us. So we have this abundance of energies and helpers wanting to help us. We forget to ask for help.
Can I also tell you that there's one thing in regarding especially this thing about sensing things in the field. Do you remember what what Kryn's prediction was in the Pope?
Yeah.
13 months before we got a new Pope, Kryon said we would get one. We thought the old one would die, and that didn't happen at all. And Kryon then backed up later after it had happened, and he said, I'm not a fortune teller. He said this was developing in the Vatican, and it was in the field.
Yeah.
Then Kryon gave it to us, said this is in a channeling. It's in Texas. He said, you're going to get a new Pope soon. He wasn't foretelling the future. He was picking it up in the field, letting us know that this is available, actually, for many of us. You can also develop the gift. That's another story.
Yes.
But obviously, Nova has it.
Yeah. But how often do we say, oh, dear Spirit, help me with this situation? And ask in the moment, whatever it is, we tend to forget that we can always ask for help or ask for more assistance.
And you know what the vehicle of that transmission is? It's intuition. That's what we teach. That thing that so many women talk about, women's intuition, I knew it was coming, this or that. Bingo, that's it. And also men have it too.
Great. Well, I think let's use that theme now as a meditation that we do briefly before we can receive a beautiful delivered message from Kryon. So I invite you to close your eyes and let's together focus on enhancing our intuition. And the easiest way to begin is to ask for Spirit or the Creator or whatever name you're comfortable with for help in enhancing our intuition. Dear Spirit, I ask for a greater enhancement of my intuition. Dear Spirit, please bring things into my life that demonstrate an increase of my intuition. And with that request, simply allow for the possibilities of things that will come into your life that are going to demonstrate to you your own unique way of receiving intuition. And I ask you to remember that inside of you is a piece of the Creator. And that piece is hooked to the field. You are entangled with the field. And the field is biased in love. And in that energy that is biased in love, it creates a bubble of benevolence that surrounds you. And as you walk on the planet, hold that vision of always being connected to the field, and that the field is biased in love, and therefore you can create benevolence in your everyday life.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I'm aware of who's listening, and perhaps even why you might be here. Among those who are listening, you are experiencing perhaps what we will call an awakening. This is going to be one of 4 channels this month where we're going to talk about the attributes of awakening that perhaps are a little odd. That is, you don't expect this kind of a thing when you start to awaken to a larger truth, or perhaps you're opening the spiritual box. You just don't expect these kinds of things. We'll get to that in a moment. The premise is this, which we will then summarize each time we discuss this month. Humanity has been seemingly, metaphorically, in a box of consciousness. And what that means is that if consciousness could be anything, as high as you can think, there has been a box that seems to have kept it from going any higher. Now, that is a box of your own co-creation, dear ones, but it's a box nevertheless. Old consciousness has been with you for eons, decades. It doesn't seem to get any better. Just a few years ago, it was the same as it was 20 years ago, and 20 years ago, and 20 years ago. One of the attributes right now of your culture, this society, this planet, is that that box has been enhanced. And that is what the shift is. Now, there's a rule, and we have given it to you before, that Spirit gives to you, and that is hands off. In other words, you have to take a look. Free choice is that way. Spirit does not show up and give you a miracle so you'll fall on your knees and believe. You got to look for yourself. So imagine in this box of consciousness, let's compare it to a darkened room. And in that darkened room, humanity has always been and lived. You don't really see each other very well because it's a very dim light. Therefore, there's a lot of misunderstanding about who is on the other side of the room. In fact, it is so dim and so dark, you kind of surround your wagons, as they say in your culture, and you live so you can see one another, work with each other, and there's a lot of fear about what is around you because it's dark. That's all a metaphor, but that is what a dark consciousness creates. Therefore, there is mistrust, corruption, war, and it has remained for eons. Suddenly, let's say in this metaphor, a door starts to open. A door that perhaps has always been there, but you never saw it because there is a tremendous light that has been turned on behind the door. And as the door cracks open, that light starts to escape. It's bright, very bright. So you only see the crack, but it's amazing. Even the crack, you would say, gets almost everyone's attention. What do you do with that? A new door is there. There will be many who will say, this is an evil door. It's what we were told about. It's what we've expected. Therefore, stay away from it at all costs. And then there will be those who say, but light, it's light. Take a look. And the others would say, that's a trick. It's a trick. See, it's in Scripture that there'll be a trick. But there are some who say, I want to see it for myself, and I'm going to decide for myself instead of what history told me it might be. And as you go to that door, metaphorically, you start to see the greatest and grandest light you have ever seen. And you start to realize this is what you've been waiting for. It is an invitation to look at something brighter in consciousness and better in consciousness than you've ever known. Therefore, there is an unknown quantity there, but it feels so good. It looks so good. And the closer you get to it, the brighter it becomes for you. There are many metaphors we could go on and on. As you absorb the light, you glow. As you walk around that dark room, you glow. And in that glowing, you expose more light to many others who for the first time get to see each other in a different light. That's the metaphor. We'll call it awakening to a grander truth. And that's what these 4 channels will be. What is it like right now for you to have this metamorphosis of going from dark to light in consciousness, to awakening to a grander truth than you were ever told existed? That's why there's so much fear. No one ever told you, perhaps, that this kind of God was there. They told you only that there was a judgmental God that you should fear, instead of one that was intrinsically in every cell of your body, waiting for you to hold out your hand and go to the light. Some of the attributes we're going to talk about in this channel, the others we'll talk about in the other channels. And they're unusual. Now let's talk about why they should be here at all. If you are starting to awaken to a larger spiritual truth, you would then say, I'm going to see my guides better. I'm going to experience God in a more fulfilling way. I'm going to see spiritual things come, and I'm going to be aware. And that is an elevated consciousness. I'm going to start going into mastery, and that mastery will then make me different as I see these spiritual things. Dear ones, that is a nice fantasy. Suddenly angels will appear. And that is not the way it works. The way it works is that you, your consciousness, your biology, the very essence of you will start to change. And why is that? And that is because God is in you, in every piece of DNA, in every cell. And that is where your awakening occurs. You are going to change. And in that change, you then develop a higher consciousness, and you're going to start to see it. You're going to start to use it. Eventually, after this change, and you're comfortable with it, indeed, you're the lighthouses of the earth. And you are the ones who will start attracting good things to yourself, living longer. And we've said this before. And others are going to come to you. And you're going to say, how do you do it? What's the answer? And you can then tell them what you know. But right now, you're shifting. This is the shift. Number 1, some of you are going to have an odd feeling that you are shifting and changing because you're starting to understand more about the things that used to drive you crazy. People with certain habits, people that perhaps do certain things, or situations around you situations that you've always really objected to, situations that they say, made you nuts. And they say no again, and make you angry. And you're looking at them for the first time and going, oh, I understand it. I don't like it, but I see why it's happening now. In fact, you even have other ideas of how you can work with yourself to move into peacefulness about things that drove you crazy. Now, that's new. In the past, when you see that and it really makes you angry, you're angry. Sometimes it develops anxiety and fear, and suddenly you're looking at it in a different light. That is starting to happen to many of you. That becomes what we will call a peaceful, understanding countenance of the ununderstandable. Be interesting to see how that's translated. There are things that shouldn't be happening in the way you see things and deal with things that now is happening in your life. How do you explain that? Situations that made you uncomfortable and anxious suddenly are starting to be met with your consciousness, with your mind, in a better light. Now that, of all things, dear ones, should tell you what's going on with you, because those are attributes of mastery. Now, some of you will say, well, that's not exactly the thing that's happening just yet. In fact, I have some opposite things that are happening. Well, we'll cover that in session 4, because those are more attributes. Here's one you didn't expect. You're feeling a disconnection with some friends that you've had before. Now, this has nothing to do with what's going on this planet right now. It has nothing to do with some of the attributes that are on the news or some of the things that would separate you. I'm talking about feeling a disconnection with friends. Now, friends are those that you would be with and enjoy being with and have activities with. And now you're even looking at the activities and you're going, I'm not sure. You might start to analyze it and we'd say, why? Why are you disconnecting from this lifetime friend? And you would say, well, because they complain a lot. And you might say, well, so what? And you would say, I'm starting to hear it in a different light. And their complaints are starting to slap me in the face somehow, and I'm uncomfortable being around them. And that's new. I always just thought it was fine, and now it isn't. You feel an actual disconnection. Oh, but for some of you, this next one, not all of you, is perhaps the oddest of all. Are you ready? You're starting to feel that your family is not really your family. Your blood relatives, sisters, brothers, mom, dad, they're not really that which is your family by the definition of family. And it's not that you are removing yourself from them. You're just saying, what if they're not who I think they are? Now that seems to be mysterious and odd, and some of you who are experiencing that are feeling guilt about it, not understanding that a master will start to see the family very differently. And part of that is seeing Mother Earth, Gaia, in a different light as perhaps being the source of the real family. These are some of the odd things that start to happen in awakening. There are more. There are psychological issues. There are physical issues. Really strange ones. And by the time we get to Channel 4, we'll tell you why this is truly happening the way it is. Blessed are those right now who are going to this light and this door metaphorically and are not afraid. for they are going to find themselves magnificence in their own cellular structure while they're here, and they're going to feel loved beyond measure. I am Kryon in love with humanity, and so it is.
And very slowly you may open your eyes if you've had your eyes closed. And in this energy, I invite you to just give yourself a little squeeze, a little hug. Feel that awareness coming back into your body. Feel that deliciousness of that hug. Because as we move into this next part of our program, I have to say that Lee and I are beyond excited about our next guest, who is also a dear friend of ours, and that's Bruce Lipton. Bruce, are you there?
I am here, and I am a happy guy to be here with you because I know the bright spot in the world is where you are sitting right now.
Oh, that's why I was asking everyone to hug themselves, because that's what I feel every time you walk into the room.
Every
Bruce.
time I see him, I want to say, cheer down, Bruce. He says. So we'll just
life is so beautiful when you know the rules, and between the two of you, you have given us the rules to enjoy this life, not just enjoy it, but to experience the heaven on earth, which I believe is where we are. So I have the deepest gratitude and appreciation for being with you, because this is a wake-up call for the whole world, and your message is most empowering of all.
Well, I find it extraordinary that no one would know who you are and everything you've done. But there may be someone who is watching.
There's probably 14 people in the world.
Who don't. So we're going to just quickly tell them all about you, Bruce.
First of all, Bruce is a friend. I've worked with him many times, and we've been in several countries together, actually, on stage. His story is amazing. And we did a TV show together with him for an hour where we walked through some of these most profound and hilarious stories. And he goes and goes, and it's just an astounding thing. So that television show is available, and it's free. So it has a lot of humor, it has a lot of profound things about how he discovered what he did, which really starts to set him up as what I call the father of epigenetics. So for all of you who wish to, I'm watching this now, both our members and also on YouTube, you can get this free show at kryon.com/Bruce, all lowercase.
Now, Bruce Lipton is a PhD. He is a cell biologist and lecturer. He's an internationally recognized leader in bridging science and spirituality. Bruce was on the faculty of the University of Wisconsin's School of Medicine and later performed groundbreaking stem cell research at Stanford University. He's the best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, The Honeymoon Effect, and Spontaneous Evolution, that was co-authored with Stephen Bauman. Now, in 2009, Bruce received the prestigious Goei Peace Award from Japan in honour of his scientific contribution to world harmony.
Dr. Lipton began examining, this is the good stuff, folks, the principles of quantum physics and how they might be integrated into his understanding of the cell's informational processing systems. In other words, how do cells work? His research at Stanford University School of Medicine between 87 and 92 revealed that the environment operated through the membrane controlling the behavior and physiology of the cell, and that's what turns genes on and off. His discoveries, which ran counter to the established scientific view, and that's true, very counter, that life is controlled by genes, gave rise to one of today's most important fields of study, the study and the science of epigenetics. Two major scientific publications were published from these studies by him, and now subsequent papers and other researchers have since very much validated these concepts and ideas.
So for those of you who are not science-minded, let me ask you this. What controls who you are and your chemistry? Now, choice number one is that it's your genetics, your inheritance. and that you might get diseases because of your mum and dad. So, for example, if they had diabetes, then potentially you are going to have diabetes. Or we have choice number 2, which is your environment, things that happened to you in your past and what is happening now. So Bruce has absolutely proved that your environment is responsible for not only your biological setup, but even how you think. With that information, is it possible that how you think can actually change your cellular structure and your health, the diseases you might have, and your lifespan? Now, I know that we have such a beautiful, advanced community on Healing Wednesday, and all of you will know that the answer to that question is a resounding yes. Hence, Bruce's book, The Biology of Belief.
Bruce has taken his award-winning medical school lectures to the public, is currently a sought-after keynote speaker and workshop presenter very, very much. He's probably one of the busiest guys I know. He lectures to conventional and complementary medical professionals and to, of course, people like us. He reveals leading-edge science and how it dovetails with mind-body medicine and the spiritual principles thereof. We're very fortunate to have him with us today. Bruce, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Oh, gosh, you guys, I'm so happy to be here with you. And it's interesting because once I really started to understand the nature about how our consciousness controls our biology, our genetics and all that, the immediate destination was to end up being with you. Because this is the message you've been downloading for people for years. And I appreciate it so much now from a scientific point of view, because in fact it is science, consciousness, energy fields, quantum physics, belief issues. These are the things that control our genetics. And I go, why is it relevant? And I go, well, the conventional story is genes turn on and off by themselves, and you didn't pick them when you got here, and you can't change them, and your life is now out of your hands and into those genes that willy-nilly turn on and off and give you cancer today or whatever. Oh, my cancer gene turned on. And I say, when we've been teaching that and the public has taken this in, then we're left with a situation today where people feel they are victims of the life they live. That when it's not turning out the way they want it, it really because of other people. I'm a victim of things. And victim means powerless, basically. And I say, so why is it relevant? The answer is the idea of what is called genetic determinism. That's what the public has been programmed with, even though that's not the leading edge of science. The public has been programmed with genes control the character of their lives. And as I said, I didn't pick them, I can't change them, and they go on and off by themselves. Then genes control me and I don't control them. I'm a victim of my heredity. Well, that's the old belief, but unfortunately, that's the belief that most of the world is still programmed to believe in. The new science is not called genetics, it's called epigenetics. And you go, well, it sounds like the same damn thing. I go, no, epi means above. So let's say, I say conventional belief, cancer, is genetics cause cancer. Okay, genes cause cancer. That's the belief system. And I go, no, cancer is epigenetics. And you go, well, it sounds like the same thing. I say, epi means above. So I say, oh, what do we call skin? Epidermis. I say, what does that mean? Well, just below the layer of the skin is a layer called dermis, and skin is just above it, so it's called above epidermis. And now I say, cancer is under epigenetic control. I go, what the heck does that mean? I say, control, epi, above the genes. The control is not in the genes. The control is in how we respond to the world. And that control is what absolutely turns genes on and off. More than that, it can change the readout of the genes. You could be born with a mutant gene and have a normal life, or more importantly, you could be born with normal genes like most people are, but because of life that's not in harmony, that life that we're struggling through, stress is really the cause of illness, basically then it says I can take a healthy gene and create cancer. And all of a sudden I go, wait a minute, then I, through my perceptions and my lifestyle, are controlling my genes. I go, yeah. And I said, well, what's powerful is that, well, if you're the one that is doing this, you're the one that can change it. I can change my perception. I can change my lifestyle. I go, so what's the consequence of that? I go, well, then you're the one that controls your genes. And all of a sudden I go, we move from I'm a victim of my heredity to I'm a master of my genetics. But the problem is it's based on consciousness. And if you have a consciousness that says that you're a victim, then unfortunately that's what's going to manifest in your life. And listen, I'm talking to this audience. This is, a Kryon Monika audience out here. You already know this stuff, but now there's a scientific principle for it. So it's not a new age, oh, that's a nice idea. I go, no, this is the science. Your consciousness is controlling your genetics, and you can change your consciousness and therefore change the character of your life. That's what it comes down to. And then the bigger thing for me is I wasn't a spiritual person. No, I was genes and proteins and biology, cells and all that kind of stuff like that. No spirituality. But as I started to understand the nature of how the cell mechanism controls its genes, and how proteins on the cell surface, like little antennas, like television antennas on the roof of your house, are bringing signals in, the most important thing I learned is no two people are biologically the same. I go, yeah, you cannot take your cells or your organs out of your body and put them into another person's body, because their immune system will say, not self, and the immune system will eliminate them. So all of a sudden I say, wait, my immune system can tell if your cells are my cells, or whose cells are who. There's identity. That's how the immune system would say, this is not our cell, and the immune system might eliminate it at that point. So I go, so why is it relevant? I say, well, obviously, if my cell is being put into your body and your immune system could say not self, then your immune system must be looking at something that determines who we are. And all of a sudden, I started to understand the nature of it. And on the surface of our cells are these antennas. They're called self-receptors. Now, in the conventional world of biology based on pharmaceuticals and Newtonian physics of a matter universe versus an energy universe, they used to say, oh, it's the receptors that makes you different. That it's these proteins, these physical things. But then when you understand the nature of how proteins work and how they respond to environmental signals, then you start to realize the receptors are antennas. I have a set of antennas that receives an environmental signal different than you have, different than anybody else has. Each one of us has a unique set of these antennas. I go, so what's the relevance? The antennas are receiving an environmental signal. And so where's your self? I go, well, it's these proteins. That's what science says. I go, no, the self is the signal picked up by these proteins. And you go, oh, okay, so my identity is due to these receptors called self-receptors. I go, yes, it is. And I go, if you take the self-receptors off the cell is generic. It's not you. It just is called whatever, a cell, liver cell, bone cell, whatever. And I go, but when you put your receptors on the cell, then it's your bone cell, your liver cell. I go, so what? So this was my big wake-up call that like lightning blew me away, was my identity is a broadcast picked up from the field by a set of receptors that is unique to each individual person. No two people are receiving the same broadcast. And I go, oh, that's real interesting. I say, no, it's more than that. Because at that moment, I realized something. The analogy, you're watching a show on a television set. And I say, the show is not in the television set. The show is picked up by the antennas and played through the television set. So here's my analogy. You're watching the Bruce show on this Bruce television set. And I go, why is it relevant? I say, well, when the television breaks, we say television's dead. And I go, yeah, it's dead. It's not working anymore. But the question is, did the broadcast die when the television died? No, it's still there. You can get another TV and plug it in and turn it on. And when you tune it to the station, the show is back on again. Oh, reincarnation, my folks. Not being a spiritual person, it was like, I can't die. I'm not even in here. I'm the broadcast. And when you come back again, different TV. Does it make a difference if it's a male or female? Nope. That's the TV. That's not who you are. Doesn't make a difference if it's white, black, brown, red, yellow. No, that's the TV. That's not who you are. We are the broadcast. We are an energy field. And the relevance about that is in physics, the term field can be defined as invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. I go, whoa! Same definition for what? Spirit. Invisible moving forces that influence the physical world is like, a guy who wasn't spiritual in 1 minute was like, oh, I'm spiritual. And it changed my whole life, because the most important thing I got out of that moment is we cannot die. We're not even in here. And just to close off this little rambling thing here, I have to say, as a scientist, I was like blown away. This 1 minute went from not spiritual Bruce to, okay, I got it. We're all spiritual entities in the field. And science Bruce asked himself a question. Why have a body? Why not just be the spirit? And that's when I found out I had Jewish comedian cells. And why I say that is because I asked the question, why have both a body and a spirit? Why not just be a spirit? And the cells asked me a question. In return, I said, why have both? And the cells asked me, Bruce, if you're just a spirit, what does chocolate taste like? Now that's deep. That you gotta have to stop here for a minute. Let Lee and Monika say, what the hell is that all about? And the idea is this: the body is a device to translate the environment into experiences: visual, auditory, smell, taste, touch, pain, pressure. Love is a feeling of chemistry in the body. I go, so why is it relevant? I say, the body is an enhancement for our spirit. The body can have these experiences, and this alters our spirit. I said, what do you mean? How can it alter our spirit? I said, we're a signal coming in on a broadcast being picked up by our self-receptors. And then we say, yeah, but my consciousness and my thoughts are in my head, because I can put wires on my head called electroencephalograph, and I can read my consciousness. And I go, yeah, but that leads to the belief that my consciousness is stuck in here, that your thoughts are stuck in your head. I go, there's another device that reads consciousness. I go, what is it? It's called not electroencephalograph. It's called magnetoencephalograph, MEG. I go, what's relevant? The probe in magnetoencephalograph doesn't touch your head. I go, what do you mean? I said, there's a probe out here that's what? Reading consciousness. I go, what does that mean? And the answer is like, your consciousness is not contained in your head. You're broadcasting it back to the field. And I go, oh, so I'm sending a signal in of self, and I'm receiving a signal from self. And all of a sudden I say, what does that do? It changes my energy field of who I am. Karma. Karma is your life experiences send back energy to your source, and it can take it out of harmony and put it into disharmony, bad karma. And then, but you also have an opportunity to come back in and change your consciousness. And that's where your power comes from. And Kryon has been telling us that same message over and over and over again all this time. And it's like, it's scientific, it's quantum physics, it's cell biology. And so that's why I love to be with Lee and Monika, because we're getting information from that field, from that source. And it's the most powerful information, because we are the field. We are that source. And when you listen to Lee and when he gets into Kryon and hear the download, then you're getting a direct message from the field that is giving you an opportunity to wake up and recognize your thoughts are manifesting this world. Now, the problem is, you might say, well, if I'm manifesting this world, my thoughts, then how come there's so much crap going on around here? Am I doing that? And I go, well, yes. And the story of epigenetics is basically how environment controls the genes. And I say, yeah, but what reads the environment? I say the nervous system reads the environment. The mind is controlling the genes by interpreting the world. And I go, and therefore your consciousness is creating your life experience. And then you say, yeah, but did I create this crap? I go, well, yes. But I said, you didn't know you were doing it. I go, why not? because what people don't recognize, there are two minds. Kryon has talked about this forever. There are two minds. The conscious mind is directly connected to your spiritual field, but the subconscious mind is a database of programs. And I go, so why is it relevant? I say, the brain is a computer. And when you buy a brand new computer, you can bring it home, plug it in, turn it on, it boots up. And I say, now do something, write an essay or do a drawing or something. You go, oh, I can't do it. But I said, you got a brand new computer. You say, not until I put programs into the computer can I use that computer. And it turns out in human existence, the first 7 years of our life, the brain is in download. Download of what? Observing the family, how they live, the rules, the behaviors be necessary to be in a family. But you're also observing the community. What are the rules and the behaviors necessary to be part of that? And I say, first 7 years, you're downloading other people's behaviors, mother, father, community. And I say, these are the programs that get you off the ground. First 7 years, your life is into those programs, okay? After age 7, you become conscious, because the first 7 years, theta is just below consciousness. But when you become conscious, then you can type on the keyboard. Then you have opportunity to put the programs or change the programs or, to work with yourself. But people don't recognize this at all. And they don't recognize the fact is this, that when we are thinking, the conscious mind is not typing. When you're thinking, you're inside with a thought. So the conscious mind is not doing anything out here. I say, yeah, but what if I'm driving the car and all of a sudden I have a thought and I'm not paying attention because my conscious mind is inside. My conscious mind goes inside thinking, I'm driving a car. What the heck's going to happen now? And I go, subconscious is autopilot. It knows how to drive a car. It's a habit. So guess what? The moment your conscious mind is thinking, subconscious steps in, drives the vehicle according to the program. And I go, guess what? 95% of our life is not coming from our wishes and desires, conscious mind. 95 is coming from the subconscious program, because that's how much time we spend thinking, redirecting the conscious mind instead of looking out, thinking, conscious mind looking in. So are you running your life with your wishes and desires, conscious mind? I go, 5% of the day. Then where's your life coming from? I go, the program. I said, where'd you get the program? From other people. Did they program you for your wishes and desires? I go, no, you're copying their program. Most of it is negative. So we struggle through life thinking, I wake up in the morning, today, conscious mind, wishes and desires. Today, I find that one I'm going to be in love with. Today, I'm going to get the best job. Today, I'm going to get healthy, conscious wishes and desires. And I go, but the problem is only 5% of the day are you creating from that. 95% of the day you're creating from the program that you got from other people. And in fact, the Jesuits have told people for 400 years, the Jesuits have said, give me a child until it is 7 and I will show you the man. I go, what's the science? I say, first 7 years is programming. Yeah, then what about the rest? I say, 95% of the rest is the program. So what if I control your program in the first 7 years, as the Jesuits said, I'll show you the rest of your life, because you're going to come from that. And this is why the work and messages that are downloaded from Kryon and my dear friend Lee is, offering through the system to give you these messages. This is not new age anything. This is absolute hardcore quantum physics, cell biology. It's science. You're very, very powerful, except for your programming. I believe this is the message you've been saying, Lee, right?
It is indeed. And the reason you're here and the reason I love to have people hear you talk is because, indeed, you got a new age channel, and I've been saying these things, and it gets then perceived because of our program as not scientific and not important and mamsy-pamsy sometimes and something in the sky. And here we are with science that validates what we think we can become and what we think we can manifest. And that is not just in our personal lives, it's on our body, and it's how old we're going to be, and all the things that we talk about. And now there's science to go with it. Okay, the people are going to say, how can I turn the corner to get rid of some of these programs, or at least alter them in order to get on a track that's different?
Well, Lee, even a more basic question than that is, what are my programs? I said, what do you mean? I said, well, you were being programmed from the last trimester of pregnancy. that was 3 months. Then you were programmed from 0 to 1. That's a year. You were programmed from 1 to 2. That's 2 years. You were programmed from 2 to 3. That's 3 years. I say, you have basically 3 years of programming that you have no conscious awareness of. By the time you're 3 and or so, you will have some memories of some things. I say, but what program did you get when you were 0? I have no idea. I wasn't there. Okay, well, when you were 1, I have no idea. I wasn't there. And so I say the biggest issue is we don't have a memory of the program because our conscious mind wasn't working at that time until after age 7. So I go, now we're in a problem. I say, the programs are creating your life. And you say, but what are my programs? And I go, here's the fun part. 95% of your life is coming from the subconscious programs. Your life is a printout of your programs. I go, so why is it relevant? I say, you want to know what the programs are? Look at your life. What does that mean? I say, look at it this way. The things you like and the things you love and things you want that do come into your life, well, they come into your life because you have a program to accept them. But, and this is the big one, the things that you wish for, desire, and you want to have, but you have to work hard and struggle, sweat over it. I'm making a lot of effort. I'm going to make this happen. I'm working on it. I'm going to make it. I go, why are you working so hard? And the answer is simple. Whatever that destination is, your struggle is not because you can't have it. Your struggle is because your program doesn't support it. So all of a sudden you say, oh, where am I struggling? I say, wherever you're struggling, that's where a subconscious program has thrown a monkey wrench into your ability to manifest. And the movie The Matrix, oh yeah, that's a science fiction movie. I go, no, the movie The Matrix is a documentary. Every one of us has been programmed. That is a fact of life. That's the basis of the movie. But here comes the cool part. In the movie, you were given a choice of 2 pills, a red pill and a blue pill. I say, what does it represent? They say, well, if you take the blue pill, and you wake up and you're back into the world just the way you've always seen it. But if you take the red pill, you get out of the program. I go, ooh, what does that mean? Well, I can tell you what it means because almost every one of you out there has taken the red pill at some time in your life, maybe more than once. And it was the most profound thing that ever happened to your life. And I go, what was that? And I say, when you fell in love. It could be in love with another person. It could be in love with gardening. It could be in love with painting. It could be in love, cooking food, whatever. When you're in love, you stop thinking. I go, well, so what? I said, remember, your conscious mind is the wishes and desires, but it doesn't work when you are thinking because then it's going inside for thought. But when you fall in love, you stop thinking. Because now you stay present, you stay in the moment. You're looking for a relationship and this person shows up. It's like, is this a time to think? I go, no, because thinking takes you out of the reality. You stop thinking. I go, well, wait a minute. So your life is blah, 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 blah every day. And then you meet this special person and 24 hours later, oh, life is so beautiful. I'm so in love. I'm so healthy. I glow. I'm happy. I love my life. The world is great. And I go, up to yesterday, it was blah, 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 blah. And now 24 hours later, you're manifesting heaven on earth. I go, what is the difference? I say, when you fell in love, you stop thinking. And then when you stop thinking, then your life is now controlled, not 5% of the day, but 90+% of the day, your life is controlled by what? Wishes and desires, conscious mind, not playing the programs with the negative beliefs in them. And I say, just stopping in 24 hours, you can go from blah, blah, blah to heaven on earth. You know what? Heaven on earth is there every day. It's only your program that takes you away from that. And if you change that program, you can automatically change your life. And that's what people do all the time.
And that is what this program is all about.
Yes.
Wow. We, believe it or not, are out of time.
It's incredible.
No!
Yes, but
12 more hours.
because you're known for what you do so well and the amount of words per minute and all these things that I knew we would get, it is such a treat to hear again what I've heard before and what we teach and what you teach. And also I know what our family teaches all around the planet.
Yes. And incidentally, if you didn't put it together, Bruce gave concrete scientific evidence for why we have that book, Biology of Belief. And then his other book, The Honeymoon Effect. Bruce is a living example of being in love every day. That's
every day.
He's in love with life.
Every day I wake up and first thing is, oh my God, I'm still alive. One. Number two, oh my God, I'm in love. And from that's the rest of my beautiful honeymoon world every day. A honeymoon can last as long as you want it to, as long as you don't fall back into the program of negativity.
So people go to brucelipton.com. What are they going to find?
They're going to find all scientific articles, audios, videos, downloadable things for free on every topic that we talk about, from how the cell works to how the honeymoon works, and the evolution that we're in process right now of experiencing, which is so fundamental because people just see the chaos without recognizing this is one of the most important stages of human civilization we're in at this very minute. Because humans and their behavior have precipitated what are called a mass extinction. 5 times in the history of the planet, life was thriving, and some event wiped out up to 90% of life, and it had to start all over again. The last mass extinction, 66 million years ago, is when the dinosaurs were here. A comet hit near Mexico, big one, upended the web of life. Guess what? 75% of life disappeared, including all the dinosaurs. And then we started all over again. And here we are today with a planet that was thriving, but is now facing this mass extinction, the number 6. But it's due to human behavior. We have to learn that life is not a war and competition with each other and a survival of the fittest and a struggle. That's not life. Life is harmony, cooperation, and love. A garden is not a battleground. A garden is a place of heightened cooperativity. We came from a garden, and look what we're doing to it. We've undermined the web of life, and now our own survival as a species is in question because we are in a mass extinction right now, losing species 1,000 times faster than normal because of what we've done. So it's a wake-up call. And I say, well, what are you going to do about it? I said, well, start listening to somebody like Kryon. He's been talking about this for years. But people are like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. I go, no, it's not nice. It's science. It is the mechanism of the universe. You're getting it direct. Now, the question is this. Yes, my conscious mind, the creative mind, has taken in every word that Lee said and goes, yeah, that's great, that's great, that's great. And I go, yeah, but you're not living from your conscious mind. You're living from your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind doesn't learn that way. So your conscious mind could be very, very smart, and your life looks like garbage. I go, well, why? Because you're not living from your conscious mind until something like the honeymoon effect, and all of a sudden you see, oh my God, the world changed. 24 hours since the moment I fell in love, I went from blah, blah to I'm in heaven. And I go, wake up. That was not an accident. That was a creation that got you out of the program. And Kryon has been telling us for years the same story. And it's like, yeah, your conscious mind has got that message. Kryon has been telling you, I know, I'm going to pass the Kryon exam. He's going to give me questions about what Kryon said. I know the answers. I go, did your life change? I go, oh, your conscious mind got the answers, but it's only working 5% of the day. So guess what? There's a problem in manifesting what Kryon is talking about. Until you understand that, oh my God, I have to change the subconscious programming, and then I could live the Kryon life.
Oh, thank you.
How beautiful. And that is what Healing Wednesday is all about. We have had so many presenters sharing how you do that exact thing.
Let me just please add one last thing here.
Yes.
Sure.
I want to thank you both so very much. I learned a lot. And I learned a lot because my science opened the door to say, oh, what Lee is saying is science, so listen to what he's saying. That's good. But as importantly, I want to thank the audience, because you are the cultural creatives that are seeking another way of life on this planet, and that it's you that are going to make evolution. Evolution is an active participation. We're not going to sit home and wait and then one day walk out the door and go, whoa, evolution, how beautiful. We have to create it. And that's why the messages that we get from you are the messages of let's not just survive, let's thrive into the future. And that's my recommendation. That's my scientific insight. And these are the words that you both have been helping us to understand. So thank you. Thank the audience. Thank Greg back there for helping get the stuff out here on the web, all that stuff like that. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Bruce. And we are going to take a very short break, and then we'll be back for the Circle of 12.
Welcome back, everyone, from the break. What can you say about Bruce Lipton? I mean,
we're still on cloud nine, so I don't know about everyone tuning in.
I want to say, Bruce, cheer down, will you? And folks, I've worked with him for years, and so I've seen the real Bruce Lipton. And remember, I've told you about this free show that we've done, that we invited you, Kryon.com/Bruce, lowercase. And he's just the same way. I mean, the man is this way. And this is why we just love him. He's the real deal.
And he's such a delight. And not only that, his information is profound.
It is.
It's just the beautiful bridge between science and spirituality.
We're talking to the guy who made the discovery. I mean, truly, he changed the minds of the planet.
Exactly.
And of the genealogy.
And the scientists as well. Incredible stuff. So Kryon has begun talking about awakening. I love this topic. And what more beautiful way to begin moving into the circle of 12 than having that theme. So with that theme of awakening, the reason you are here deliberately watching this program is because you have had something within you awaken. Some of you may have stumbled across this by accident, but I'd like to remind you there are no accidents. Something within you is awakening to wanting to discover that perhaps there is a divine majesty within the cells of your body waiting for you to have awareness. And with that awareness, it brings greater insights. It opens a door to intuition. And through intuition, allow these brilliant sparks of divine knowledge to come into your being. And so now I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if you haven't already. And there is nothing to do. There is simply allowing the energy of Kryon to speak to you. Kryon speaks to you in a very personal way. And so let us now listen to the personal message that Kryon has just for you.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon. Come a little closer. What if I told you you're not who you think you are? That has many layers of understanding, dear ones. But the truth is this: you think you are that which you have been taught you are. No matter what culture you have come from, you are shaped by what you've been told. The guest today brought it forward in scientific terms, and now we tell you it is so. And that part of the unprogramming or deprogramming of what you have been told is what this, the Circle of 12, is all about. It's coming to a grander conclusion upon examination of you, your life, your purpose. That grander conclusion is coming to that which is far different than anything you were ever told. What if I told you you're not who you think you are? I'll give you an axiom. We've said it before. You need to hear it again. Every single human being on this planet has a greater part of themselves called a soul. It's the bigger you. Every human being on this planet comes in fresh with the ability to find the Creator. We've said it before. At some level, some intuitive level, it has happened. For over 85% of the planet believes in God, a monotheistic Creator. One energy, the Creator. But that's as far as it goes. And then there are literally dozens and dozens of systems you believe that Creator wants you to be in, participating, in order to find the Creator. And that, dear ones, is your training. What if I told you you're not who you think you are? What if who you are is a pristine human being? When you wipe away the programs that you've been told about who God is, what if you stand there without those programs? What would you do? I will tell you this: you are designed to find and use the creative source. You are designed for mastery. All of you, every one of you. You are not designed for suffering. You are not designed to be punished or to be judged. Dear ones, all of that has been given to you by your own cultures, and some by those who really believed it as they told you. They would tell you that beautiful, wonderful, loving Creator is somehow separated from you so much that beautiful, loving Creator will then punish you because you did something wrong. Or even worse, punish you just because you're a human being on the earth. Does that really sound right to you? Dear ones, that is what is trained into you, and that's not you. If I started telling you who you really are, you start to see the reactions that you have are programmed. The things that you don't expect about yourselves, or may even be surprised that you have, are programmed. They're the way your mother and father reacted or told you you should react, or spiritual leaders told you to react like this, or don't believe this, or go here, or do this. Isn't it time, perhaps, to start your own reactions based upon compassion, love, and all of the things you are starting to learn are really there for you? Oh, there are so many who say, I am that I am that I am, and nobody's going to change it. This is who I am. Let me tell you, that has also been trained into you. And that is called the never-changing attribute of human nature. The never-changing attribute of human nature. That is not true. Human nature is how humans behave as a whole and have behaved as a group, so much the same for eons that has been cemented in place and called human nature. And it's not looking at something that is all that pleasant either. When that term is used, it's usually used in a negative way. What if I told you that wasn't right either? Human nature can be whatever is happening with your culture, with your planet. Human nature is changeable. You're not going to hear that from psychologists. What happens if an entire planet starts to change its mind about what's important to them? What happens when an entire planet starts to love each other? What happens after hundreds of years and there's no more war? You're going to have to rewrite the term, aren't you? And human nature will become something it never was before, because it is changeable. That's why we're here. We want you to discover things that you can change. We want you to see and admire yourselves in a different way. We'd love to bring to you a whole different idea of who you are. And then you can agree with me. Maybe you're not who you thought you were. And by that, I would say this: those who have awakened to a bigger truth in these last years have an attribute that they know about. And it goes like this. They look at themselves. They look at themselves perhaps a few years ago, and they shake their heads and they say, who was that person? Did I really say that? Did I really do that? And we've said this before. There's that attribute of disbelief of who you used to be. You changed your own human nature. And now your nature is far more understanding and benevolent and kind. You're no longer a complainer. You watch what you're saying. You start to bring abundance into your life because it's attracted to your mastery. Dear ones, this is the same as everything we've taught. There are those who would question all of it and say there has to be a give and take. What would happen if everybody became abundant on this planet? It can't happen. I will tell you, it can happen. It can happen. Let's see. The result of it would be peace on earth, dear ones. Abundance is not a pile of gold. Abundance is you being taken care of so you're not hungry. Abundance is far, far different than perhaps that you have even defined it. So that you're peaceful in your society financially. So that you are in a place where you don't worry. Abundance is having peace. You reapply the whole terminology instead of a pile of gold. It becomes you being peaceful, having enough to eat, not hungry, and surviving easily in a society. And there are still those who would say it can't be for all. There's something wrong with this picture. And that is also something you've been told that is incorrect. Other planets have done it, dear ones. They know how. And it also has to do with what is coming, where you get your energy from, where you get your food from, the workflow of what you think might have to be in order to generate certain things. And that all changes. And you start to understand and realize, wow, everyone could benefit, no matter who it is. What if you're not who you really think you are? I want you to go across this bridge with me, because I want you to rewrite that whole scenario for you and others. Stay with me. This may seem like the same kind of an exercise you once had, but not really. I want you to take my hand and get ready to cross the bridge, that metaphoric separation between what is known and linear and what is unknown and multidimensional. The unknown is often frightening to people because they don't know what is truly next. What if truly next meant something grander and bigger? Never negative, always positive. That's what we're talking about. Take my hand, let's cross the bridge. It's a grand place you find yourself in that drips with compassion and peace and love, and you realize this is the real you, not the one you thought was you. This is your soul, dear ones. You are in your soul's energy, and that is what is on this side of the bridge, your soul's energy, where all things are possible, where truly the idea of miracles and magic is every day, whatever you think those words mean, attainable and doable, because you are part of the Creator who created all things. That's your soul. It's eternal in both directions. Always existed, always will. That's your soul. And right now, in this finite of time, it exists with you in a human body. I want you to go into this theater, through that portal, that door that we often ask you to go in, into this theater in the round. This one where you never know who's going to sit in the seats today, and whether you're going to be standing or sitting on the stage, or whether you're going to be alone. The theater in the round is a theater which has an audience that surrounds it, which is sunken. The stage is risen, so you must walk down into the audience and up onto the stage. There's no one in the audience yet. It'll come in later. So if you wish to, and you want to join me, this one is a bit different. Go ahead. Get on the stage, sit in the chair. The chair is there. The spotlight is on it as always, and it's a chair with your name on it. It may even be made of gold. It's so precious. It's where you sit and relax and enjoy and be because of what's going to happen next. This is a difficult one to describe, this experience, and it's timely. And that is to say that years from now, if people listen to this, and when they do, it's one where you kind of had to be there to understand what is going on. There has never been a time, dear ones, when there's been more of a division of attitudes than now, of ideas than now. All through this particular world, and especially in your culture and in your society, you're polarized. You're starting to line up in many different directions because of what is happening. And it's not just political, dear ones. Those who believe this and that and this and that, so many layers of belief and disbelief and ideas of right and wrong and shoulds and should nots, that is starting to separate so many of you from long-time, beautiful, loving friends, from family. And you sit here and you wonder, is this ever going to heal itself? What do I do now? Indeed, some of you had such disappointments that you're trying to get a point across, for instance, of what you truly believe, or trying to say something, and your friends are just the opposite, and they say, how could you be so dumb as to believe what you're believing? And you're looking at them and saying, I feel the same way about you, and the door is slammed, and you haven't seen them for a while, and you just realize they're gone. Because that can't heal, you'll say. That's a tough one. Where family will call you up and say, well, I know we're related, but it wouldn't seem like that because you're not thinking straight. And they'll go after you on some kind of a thing, and it's not always political. And you hang up the phone and realize that's a wounded relationship I used to have with somebody I loved. That's who's going to be in the audience today, and they're filing right now. And I want you to see they're filing in, and they're actually grouping themselves, unusual for those who believe this, who believe that, those in political parties. It's an odd thing to watch, isn't it? They all group themselves, and they don't really know what's going to happen. They're seated. I'll tell you, this is a metaphor. Are they there or are they not there? It's a metaphor for what can happen. They're looking at you because you've invited them to be here. In a way, you've said esoterically, come into this theater that I visit often. I want to show you something. I want to show you something. And they sit there. And suddenly, as they sit there, perhaps an angel appears with you on stage or something, and a bubble surrounds them, the whole stage, the whole theater, and suddenly, in this bubble, a consciousness magic occurs, and all of the things that separated you and them and them and them disappear. They can't even remember them. Suddenly, for a moment or two, they can't remember any of the things that have that separated them and divided them. And they're looking around at each other, and they're actually meeting each other again for the first time. And they're recognizing, and there's this reunion. And then they look at you, because this is what you did and what you have brought them. And they see and understand. It's a wave of love going to you because you brought them here. somehow you produced a miracle in their lives, and they're meeting each other again. And some of them start to weep and get on stage and come to you and say, I don't know what you've got or what you've done, but thank you, because I love you. Please forgive me for anything I ever said, because I love you. And they start looking at you and cheering and applauding what you brought to them. They never could have done that. What's a miracle? Everything that divided you went away. Why is this important? Because that's the way it's going to be in a few years. In other words, all of the things that exist today that would have separated you so severely from those that used to love you will no longer be there. Because that's what happens over time. Attitudes change, political parties change, conditions change. And then you look back and go, why? Why did I think this way or do this? Why did I say what I said when it's all so temporary? Meanwhile, all of them are in a place right now of tremendous appreciation for what you brought to them. Dear ones, when you leave this place and you go back to what you call your reality and you think all those barriers are there again, think again. For the friendship and the love that brought you together for the first time is still there. And perhaps a few compassionate, healing words would be all that's necessary for them to look at you and say, how did you do this? Or you might call them up and you say, first of all, I want to tell you, no matter what you think about me, that I truly love our friendship, and I really, really want to. It doesn't matter how long we might be apart for this, but please, please know that what attracted me to begin with to you, or if you're a family, what I loved about you, I still love about you. And then when you hang up the phone, watch what happens. Because they'll start to see the magic of the angel that you brought them today. Stay here. I want you to stay here and enjoy this just for a little while. Is this real or is this not real? You tell me later when things start to change. And so it is.